Sweet, beautiful souls. Hello, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about something it's a bit challenging, but my goodness, the freedom, the expansion, the illumination, the growth, all of that on the other side of this is 1000% the challenge that you will go through in order to overcome and be on the other side of this. And when I really began to understand this in my life, it changed everything. It changed everything. And so what we're going to be diving into today is really the sovereignty, the truth, and the knowing of when to trust others and when you're being called to really break out of this system, break out of these systems that this is something that I was really struggling to share because I was like as I was tuning in, I was like, really, do we need to share about this? Is this really we're gonna go there? And they were like, yes, this is so important for where we're at in our collective awakening, where we're at in the exposing of the systems that be. And chances are you've been on a journey, as we all have, but some people's journeys and struggles, I want to remind you that these are leading you to your truth, to what your soul came here to do. And we've all heard this saying that no one's going to save you. This is really the concept that we are being invited to look at in other aspects of our life. Especially the one that I love to speak to is around health, well-being, and healing. The more that we can really understand that no one is going to save us, this is when we set ourselves free. This is a hard pill to swallow. It was a really hard pill for me. And ultimately, though, on the other side, it is one of the most empowering things that we can receive. So I want to share a bit of a backstory because a lot of the people that come to me, and for good reason, because this was my journey as well, so I'm able to see and penetrate past the lies and the confusion, and we get right into what is your soul telling you, what is your soul leading and guiding you to, what is your body expressing and communicating to you, and we shift and heal things quite quickly this way. But I want you, so the backstory is when I was going to many doctors, many healers, many naturopaths even, I was essentially, and this is what we are almost programmed to do, I was like, here is my power, fix me. And I can tell you right now, that is the fastest way to dig yourself a deeper hole into not finding answers and relying on external people and sources in order to solve your problems. And the interesting thing is that this bleeds out and really shows us the other energies and other aspects of our life, because everything is interconnected, everything is interwoven, and everything in our relationships and in our health and in our finances and our business, all of these things are connected. So we can never just look at one aspect or the other. And I found this really particularly fascinating when I've seen some people sharing about, being that it is now currently at the time of this recording, it is October, which is a Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And it's so wild because as a child, something felt so off about breast cancer awareness. All of these awareness foundations. Why are we raising money for awareness? First of all, first red flag. Second of all, why are we raising money for research? Second red flag. And when I was a child, it was why does this just feel off? Why does this feel off to me? And as I've come to grow and expand, and this was before I was tuned in and any of this stuff, right? But I've been on this health journey literally since I was 2 years old when I almost died. And that if you're not familiar, I got pneumonia when I was 2, and this was such a catalyst for my soul, for my family, for my mom, to really begin like, oh, like we have the opportunity here to take our health into our own hands. So even as a child, I started reading food labels and whatnot when I found out I was celiac, which I don't believe I actually am, but they didn't know what else to call it back, my gosh, like 20 years ago at this time. This was before there were the explosion of gluten-free, which if you've been around here for any length of time, I don't believe that. I really believe most people are just allergic to the glyphosate, not necessarily the gluten. But I digress. So when I started hearing these concepts of breast cancer awareness and mental illness awareness, and I was like, this just feels off to me. And as I've come to see more and more, like the irony of this is wild, you guys. The irony of this is wild, that we are placing this breast cancer sticker sign thing on products that cause cancer, cereals, toxic skincare, toxic products, toxic foods that literally are filled with chemicals that cause cancer. So we are beginning to see that there is a system that a lot of people are beginning to awaken and begin to really see that, wow, maybe there are parties that be that don't have my best interest at heart. Maybe there are forces that be that don't have my best interest at heart. Now, I'm not saying that all of these doctors are trying to hurt you or anything like that. I believe doctors, this is where it's difficult for me, because I believe that doctors have the intention to help people heal. You would not want to, who wants to go through that much medical school, that much money, all of that to just, for nothing. People want to help people, but unfortunately the ways in which they're being taught are not supportive, because you are not a pharmaceutical deficiency. You are not a diagnosis. This is also one of the biggest traps that we can fall into is, I'm just a diagnosis, like I have XYZ. If you want to begin to change your health, we have to begin to break free from these narratives that I have, I am, and this is my fate. No one can tell you your fate except for you. And so on my journey, as I was going to these doctors trying to figure out what was wrong, I just got a bunch of diagnoses. And I see this with a lot of people, but that doesn't actually correct the solution. That doesn't actually give you the solution, because even if you go to a naturopath, and I'm not saying that all doctors and all naturopaths, but I'm saying that a large proportion, if they've gone through the system, they have not been trained how to deeply from the root heal a person. And so as I went to naturopaths and I see this and people are like, oh, I have SIBO, I finally know what it is. I have candida, I finally know what it is. I have parasites, I finally know what it is. I have heavy metals or mold. Okay. But if we just take detoxes and supplements to get rid of the candida, get rid of the SIBO, mold, heavy metals, but we don't do the deeper underlying emotional, somatic, consciousness work, inevitably that or something else will come back. It is inevitable. And so when we see these things like cancer is ultimately like the expression that we haven't been listening. And I say this with so much love. I say this with so much love because we aren't taught how to listen to these bodies. We aren't taught what certain pains mean and what certain illnesses represent and what they're communicating to us. And we aren't taught how to work through and heal trauma. And we aren't taught how to manage our emotions. And we aren't taught how to clear and work with energy We aren't taught these things. And so when one thing happens and we say, oh, it'll be okay, it's just like a level 4 pain and communication, and then we're like, no, it'll be okay. And then it eventually comes up to a level 5, and then we're like, I'll just take a turmeric or an Advil, and I'll be okay. And then it's gonna get to a level 6 and 7 and 8, and then all of a sudden we have these dis-eases that is like the body talking to us so loud that we are then placed in this place of fear where doctors say that your only solution is to do XYZ. In this, once we can break free from this narrative that someone else actually knows more than you, I get it. Criterias and certificates and certifications, it looks like I just have a problem with. Like, what really was a huge catalyst for me was the first time that I went to a practitioner who wasn't a doctor. She didn't have certifications, and she changed my life more than anyone else. And that was when I really began to wake up. I'm not saying that we shouldn't trust people with certifications, but we don't need the certifications in order to trust someone. And ultimately, you're being asked to trust yourself. I went to this practitioner. I had gone to so many doctors and oh my goodness. And finally, I discovered Spirit led me to this woman who did laser therapy. She did muscle testing, all of these quantum things that at the time I was like, what on earth is this? But I was open. That's one thing. Like, if you can extract anything from this, it's to be open. Be open to a new perspective, a new way of seeing things. So I was open to seeing her, and she showed me by muscle testing my body what my body was wanting. She showed me, like, I will never forget the first time, and it was totally normal to her, but she gave me a product, a supplement, and she had me hold it in my hands, and she had me put out my arm and with her hand, and she tested it, and my body was really strong. Then she gave me another one, and my body was weak, and I was like, my body knew. My body knew, and like that opened up this whole realm of, oh my goodness, the body is communicating to us, and there are these subtle fields that we just don't even understand. And by the way, this is called muscle testing. We can do this ourselves. I have a masterclass where I taught you literally how to muscle test. You could literally ask anything you would like. Your body, your life, your health, your relationships, your work. You can ask anything you would like. And receive the answer. So if you want the details for the muscle testing masterclass, that is below. But we have to begin to open up our perspective. And so when I begin to open my perspective of, oh, I guess there's another way to do things. And I guess that just because someone has or doesn't have a certification, this might not be relevant. And here's what I really want people to just begin to become a bit more open to, is that the system, if it were serving, we wouldn't have so many people sick. We wouldn't have so many dis-eases. We wouldn't have all of these wild things. And now here's the thing. Your soul chose to be here at this time in order to awaken to this. The 5G, the toxins in the food, all of this stuff. And we're coming to a really beautiful place. These protests that are happening to bring down Kellogg's and to show what Monsanto is putting in the food, and that 5G and the stuff, the contaminants in the water. And ultimately that the healthcare system, it is not designed for you to thrive. It is not designed to make you healthy. The fact that we have breast cancer awareness when there are cures for cancer. There are cures that don't involve chemotherapy and that do not involve radiation. There are cures. And if we don't do the deeper somatic and emotional work, it's not that is oftentimes the root. And I'm not going to say it's going to come back because I don't know. Every person is different. But there are things that we can do to get rid of this. I was actually talking with someone the other day of what we would do if we got cancer. And we had different responses, but ultimately they were pretty similar. And for me, I just shared, if someone I knew or myself got cancer, what would I do? I would start doing green juices and juicing like crazy. I'd probably fast and do green juices and juices. And I would also do a Rife machine. Rife machine, if you are not familiar, it has the exact frequencies to kill and harmonize cancer and really many diseases, which also there are frequency devices that we have that have similar frequencies. One of them would be the Healy, which I use on a daily basis, which I think is like an incredible preventative way to send frequencies that optimize our body. So if you want to grab one of those as well, definitely check my link for it below. This is really ultimately, I believe, the future of where we have a frequency in our hand that can transform our life. And if you have any questions about it, please just like reach out, because this video is not intended to be a promotion for that, but ultimately this is like a device that anything you want support with, it can support that. Any system and organ in your body, your mental and emotional health, anything, flower essences, homeopathy, there are thousands of frequencies in this little device, and we can use these to heal. We have heard that the future of medicine, or what is it? The Nikola Tesla, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of frequency and vibration. And so when we have these types of, so that's what I would do. I would do juicing, and I would do a Rife machine. And what this woman that I was talking with, what she said is she would eat fruit, and I think that's actually all she said. And then I thought maybe I would also maybe do some ozone therapy too, because that's really good for like mold and candida. And then you want to know what the thing that I said, that ultimately though, I would do those things because we are physical beings. We do have to do things for the physical. And then you want to know what I would do? I would work with someone to help me see where I need to release anger within myself. Cancer is often rooted in unresolved anger. That is what the majority of cancer is. And whether it was anger or an emotion or a sadness, it's like a feeling of like giving up and deep-seated anger. A lot of people who get cancer, there's a deep-seated anger towards a parent, towards a loved one, towards someone who hurt them in the past, and it could even be in a past life. And so having someone to help you or whoever experiences this to work through that, now like the body will heal. The body is designed to heal. And when you can really get in this awareness and understanding and understanding, oh my goodness, our bodies are designed to heal. And so this isn't to tell you like this really like is not designed to be like a doomsday, but the faster that we can understand that it is not an external trusting of everything outside of us, and ultimately that we get to make the decisions, we get to be in the driver's seat of our health, of our life, of everything. This is when we will heal. To put our trust and faith in God, source, the universe, divine, spirit, a power higher than us that has created us, that is also within you, within me, within us all. This very same force that created you lives within you. The very same force that created the entire world is within you. And so, of course, this force can heal anything. When we can really tap into this, and if you need support with this, reach out. This is what all of my work is designed to do. It's to lead you to this remembrance and activate this and know this within you. So if you need any other support, all of the links for what I mentioned will be below. If you want to just hop into the miracle frequency and activate this knowing and this trust in your daily life, if you want to do the one-on-one work to really clear out what is not supporting you, both of those links will be below. And with that, I'm just sending you all infinite love and light.